Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you enjoy learning about cemeteries and haunted history as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. Last week, my husband and I ventured out to Port Tampa to visit the Port Tampa Cemetery. There wasn't much online regarding the cemetery, but if I would have just dug a little bit deeper, I would have found out that it was no longer active. Initially, I was not going to make a video on this, but I thought for your benefit, I would, just in case you're out in Tampa wanting to visit cemeteries and you happen to come across this one, that it is no longer an active cemetery. It was one of the many original African American cemeteries that has since been forgotten about or built upon. Established in the 1800s, this cemetery is believed to have as many as 121 burials, with only 26 documented burials, and the most recent burial dating back to the 1920s. Interments there date back to the 1840s, and what I discovered is that most of the documented burials are actually those of infants and children. Perhaps the longest living individual, or the one that lived the longest life, let's just say, who was buried there was one Willis J. Woods, and he only lived to be age 59. I will put a list of those laid to rest there at the end of my video, just in case you're wondering. You might have ancestors buried there. I'm also going to include in this video some images of the memorial service that was held there, as well as the plaque that was dedicated in honor of the departed in February of 2021. Too little too late in my opinion, but in February of 2021, a memorial service was finally held for those laid to rest in the Port Tampa Cemetery. Many men in uniform were in attendance, as well as some civilians who possibly had ancestors buried there. And they did include a dove release, which I thought was really beautiful. I'm not really sure if the services were open to the public. It may have been, but it looks like there was quite a few in attendance to witness this ceremony. It is a lost African American cemetery. Not really lost per se. They did hire an archaeologist to come in and do a dig, and they probably did use ground penetrating radar to determine exactly how many bodies were there. They believe it to be around 121 burials. It could be more. I don't think anybody really knows. So if you were to go to visit, you would have to get on MacDill Airforce Base. So like my husband is a 20-year veteran, so he has the pass to always be able to get on. But not only are they taking passes from your friend or loved one who maybe was in the military, but they're also taking passes from anyone who is a passenger in the vehicle trying to get in. So you want to kind of plan for that. If you do want to go and kind of see this plaque in person, you're probably just going to hop out of the car and take a quick look at, the area where the cemetery once was. It's all trees now. But if you wanted to go see it, there is a bench there. There's actually 2 benches and a cenotaph in honor of the departed, which is nicely done. It's a really nice commemoration of those at rest there. It looks like if you wanted to, you could just pull up to that space, and you probably can't sit for too long because the military might need to get through there, but you might be able to just park on the side there and go and sit in one of the benches and just kind of reminisce a little bit. Take a picture of the cenotaph, whatever you want to do. The cemetery is located inside the military base, adjacent to the Tanker Way Gate. So when you go into MacDill Airforce Base and you go to the right where it looks like it's just kind of landing strips, but you're going to go to the right and you're going to ride down, and it's going to come to kind of like, there's a couple of warehouse style buildings there in the corner, and the road kind of curves around. And in that corner lot is where the cemetery once was and where the cenotaph is. I'm going to show you some pictures and enjoy. should have left the cemetery grounds alone in the way that they've let it become overtaken with trees. If they weren't going to use the space anyway, they should have just left it cleared of debris, left whatever headstones that were actually there, which there weren't many, 26 headstones, just leave them there and put the cenotaph in the middle. What do you guys think? They haven't used it for anything. It's literally trees. So they just let it become overgrown, and then 81 years later, they have a memorial service, which was beautiful and great. That's a really great thing that they did. But why 81 years later? Why did it take so long to remember those that are buried there and to have a ceremony for them? I mean, 81 years ago, they probably had family that wasn't that far down the line as far as being ancestors and being related to the departed, people that could have identified more with who's laid to rest there. But we never know why people do things that they do. I'm glad that they had this service. I think that the people at rest there do deserve it. Their families deserve it. And I really hope that in the near future, we can at least recover a lot of these African American cemeteries that have been built upon or have gone into such a state of disrepair that they're no longer recognizable as a cemetery. Like I said, there are efforts, I believe they're led by Janet Cruz of Tampa, taking place right now to try and uncover some of these forgotten historic African American cemeteries. I really hope that they're able to do that, at least for a lot of them. That does it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of information for you. If you haven't already, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you next time.